by Living Colour.
Living Colour, which is not to be confused with the TV show In Living Colour, gained notoriety for challenging the status quo of hard rock music by protesting political injustices and having been rebels against the rules and culture of hard rock. The song Cult of Personality was released on Living Colour's first album, Vivid, in 1988 and reached the top 20 charts in the United States, also earning a Grammy Award for 1989's Best Hard Rock Performance. The album sold 2 million copies. The song Cult of Personality also has been said to have inspired guitarist Tom Morello to form Rage Against the Machine in 1991. Living Colour and this song owe much of their success to MTV, which was at the peak of its power at the time. In the book I Want My MTV, it was claimed that Epic Records, who had both Living Colour and Michael Jackson on their roster, refused to release Jackson's Smooth Criminal video to the network until they agreed to put the Cult of Personality in heavy rotation. The song denounces idolatry of politicians and celebrities. In an interview with Louder Sound, Vernon Reid said, "It asked what made us follow these individuals who were larger than life, yet still human beings. Aside from their social importance, Malcolm X and Martin Luther King both look like matinee idols. That was a strong part of why their messages connected." By the way, a matinee idol is a term used to describe film stars who are adored to the point of adulation by their fans. The song opens and closes with famous quotes from JFK, Malcolm X, and Franklin D. Roosevelt. The song also mentions Benito Mussolini, Joseph Stalin, and Mahatma Gandhi. Opening the song is Malcolm X from his Message to the Grassroots speech in 1963.
And during the few moments that we have left, we want to talk right down to earth in a language that everybody here can easily understand.
The song ends with John F. Kennedy's famous inaugural address in 1961.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
The significance of the quotes is that both were from men who were assassinated. Most of the song seems to denounce idolatry. The lyrics make no distinction between good and evil, as each time they mention a hero, they pair them with an enemy. Mussolini and Kennedy, Stalin and Gandhi. This could be for several reasons. One thing that comes to my mind is balance. For example, Newton's third law, which states for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. Although that's in regards to motion, the same idea is often applied to spiritual and religious beliefs. Yin and yang, God and Lucifer, light and dark. Can one exist without the other? Another reason could be one's own perception. Kennedy, Martin Luther King Jr., Gandhi. Despite our perception that they are good people who did great things, the fact is they were human and thus imperfect. No one is pristine. One individual that listeners would expect to hear in the song was Adolf Hitler. However, Vernon Reid had this to say. At first, Hitler was in Mussolini's place. Stalin murdered more people than Hitler, but fearing it might be misconstrued, I decided not to include Hitler in any way. Regarding the video, a key element is a little girl transfixed to a television, very similar to what you see in the movie Poltergeist. About this concept, Corey Glover, said, quote, "The little girl watching television was like a foreshadowing of the world that we lived in, that people got their information from television, not from actually being in the world. We were all children of the television age. Our information came firsthand that way, and that's what the video was trying to talk about, the seminal moments in your life that for the most part you saw on television," end quote. Now remember, this was back in the late 80s. There was no internet, there was no social media, and there were no smartphones. Now, obviously, everybody is a zombie slave to their smartphones. It's the same thing, except that for us, it was TV. So what does the term cult of personality mean? Merriam-Webster defines cult of personality as a situation in which a public figure, such as a political leader, is deliberately presented to the people of a country as a great person who should be admired and loved. Or more elaborately, a cult of personality or a cult of the leader arises when a country's regime uses the techniques of mass media, propaganda, spectacle, the arts, patriotism, and government-organized demonstrations and rallies to create an idealized, heroic, and worshipful image of a leader, often through unquestioning flattery and praise. A cult of personality is established by modern social engineering techniques. It is often seen in totalitarian or authoritarian countries. In his 2013 paper titled, "What is Character and Why It Really Does Matter?" Thomas A. Wright states, quote, "The cult of personality phenomenon refers to the idealized, even godlike, public image of an individual consciously shaped and molded through constant propaganda and media exposure. As a result, one is able to manipulate others based entirely on the influence of public personality. The cult of personality perspective focuses on the often shallow external images that many public figures cultivate to create an idealized and heroic image. It is evident that the charismatic leader, especially in politics, has increasingly become the product of media and self-exposure," end quote. Focuses on the often shallow external images that many public figures cultivate to create an idealized and heroic image. It is evident that the charismatic leader, especially in politics, has increasingly become the product of media and self-exposure, end quote. Robert Bellah, an American sociologist, adds that it is hard to determine the extent to which the media reflect the cult of personality in American politics and to what extent they have created it. Surely they did not create it all alone, but just as surely they have contributed to it. In any case, American politics is dominated by the personalities of political leaders to an extent rare in the modern world. In the personalized politics of recent years, the charisma of the leader may be almost entirely a product of media exposure. So what's the justification for a cult of personality? Often, a single leader became associated with this revolutionary transformation and came to be treated as a benevolent guide for the nation without whom the transformation to a better future could not occur. Generally, this has been the justification for personality cults that arose in totalitarian societies, such as those of Adolf Hitler and Joseph Stalin. It was Mussolini in Italy in the 1920s who originated the model of dictator as cult figure that was emulated by Hitler, Stalin, and the others. using the propaganda powers of a totalitarian state. The Stalin cult was elaborately constructed to legitimize his rule. Many deliberate distortions and falsehoods were used. The Kremlin refused access to archival records that might reveal the truth, and key documents were destroyed. Photographs were altered and documents were invented. People who knew Stalin were forced to provide official accounts to meet the ideological demands of the cult. This song came out 31 years ago as of this recording, speaking of the mind control we've been under and the idolatry of politicians, celebrities, and media who are complicit. I believe this song asks us to look beyond the mask. Stop worshiping celebrities. Don't believe everything you read, hear, or see on TV, especially. We've been tricked and lied to our whole lives, for generations really. It's time to educate ourselves, think critically, and question everything. We have a choice.
That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Hope you enjoyed my first ever video. Don't forget to subscribe and click the like button. Thank you for watching.